Middle East politics are probably vague to all of us. After all, we don't really go deep into Middle Eastern history in school now, do we? We go into Europe and America, then we touch on Asia and Africa, but the Middle East in general, you know what? It's kind of an afterthought. We're supposed to be able to trust well-informed journalists to bring us the truth when it comes to matters, especially at times of conflict in the Middle East. At the very least, what they're supposed to do is point us in the right direction if they can't do that. Journalists now, they're not the gatekeepers of all things that are true, but we are supposed to be able to read something informative and think to ourselves, yeah, I'm better off for this, and I'm at least on the right path to figuring things out for myself. But you know what, lately? Things have changed. The scene is different. This conflict with Iran is really eye-opening for all of us here on the right. We're seeing voices we once thought were reasonable, intelligent, and pro-America flip the script. They are changing. They're becoming unreasonable, unintelligent, surprisingly anti-Semitic, and willing to sell out America. It's kind of bizarre to have to call out these voices, too. Some of them were the people I used to watch, and I know you probably used to watch, too. Tucker Carlson, for example, he's one of them. Over the past few months, but especially with this conflict in Iran, it's like we're watching a snake shed its skin, and a whole new creature's kind of emerging. And I don't like saying it, but as of now, to me, and probably to you, it looks like Tucker Carlson is inclined to sell out America for his personal gain. I mean, he's been accused of this in the past. But there was room to disagree at times. Lately, though, he's gone off the rails, and there's a couple things that I'd like to show you to back all of this up. Real quickly, though, constructive criticism of America doesn't mean a person is selling America out. Everyone with a patriotic bone in their body, from the framers to present-day America and everyone in between, has a right to call out things that need to be fixed. If anything, all this does really is show that you love your country and you care. It's the same thing you do with your family and friends, right? I mean, you speak up when there are problems so you can get together and then you fix them. Selling out America is completely different. This happens when you fake patriotism in the name of fooling people into believing you're something that you're not. Also, you can get basically the clicks and head to the bank laughing at everyone along the way. The type of personality that does this has no regard for the consequences. Forget about the consequences. This type of personality is too passive. That's Tucker's big problem. He's passive. And I would argue that's the problem the left has as well, since we're here. People who value America are more aggressive generally and more interested in sacrificing for their family, country, and God. They value others as well as they value themselves. Or in some cases, they probably value them even more. This is why you see them in the military. Passive personalities, on the other hand, now they sacrifice only for themselves and whatever group think they link themselves to. On the left, this is why they are attracted to socialism. But in Tucker's case, that groupthink is his followers. They're basically his lifeline. The notion of God and country, it never appears in the picture for people like him. This is why when Tucker speaks about the situation in Iran, it comes off as insincere. Cringeworthy. It's so glaringly clear that he has no real knowledge or genuine concern about the situation, we almost want to turn our heads away. Here's one of his tweets from March. It's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East and cost the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may even be higher. Those aren't guesses. Those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set off war, and it will be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you. So where do we start with an abomination of a prediction like this? We've all seen it go south. Tucker is 150% wrong. I mean, there's so much wrong here, it would take hours to go over it, but what's really striking to us is that what is wrong with this tweet isn't as important as why it's wrong. The what and the why are two different things. What he tweeted there, and this was even in March, to anyone who digs deep into the situation with Iran, was a complete and total joke. When we consider the demographics, the geopolitics, the topography, and Iran's military capabilities, along with their lack of allies, then sprinkle in a little bit of history, it's all way too obvious that Iran is all by themselves with their struggling IRGC-dominated regime. Demographically, Iran is only 60% Persian, and only a chunk of those people support their current regime. Unfortunately, they happen to be the ones in power, and unfortunately, they are very militant. But Iran can still overcome. Iran has no army, air force, or navy to speak of, and they are surrounded by what are generally Sunni Arab enemies. Not all of them, but the big ones are. And you know what? There won't be any war of significance fought over a country who is only tolerated because of their South Pars gas field and the Strait of Hormuz. And neither Russia nor China will be rushing to aid a country that they would be more inclined to infiltrate and take over at a later date anyways. Iran's own oil fields and gas fields are a temptation to conquer more than they are conditions of friendship. Iran themselves now can't even extract gas from their half of South Pars. They're having big time problems. This is the richest gas field in the world. And Qatar now, their half of the field is North Dome. Qatar is producing gas at a rate 2.5 times higher than Iran. Iran's production, too, it's projected to slow down. And those are estimates from Iran's own regime. This is not a conspiracy. Iran's ballistic missiles are strong, but they're limited in number. They are the product of a homeland whose only choice is to develop ballistic missiles because they don't have anything else. And they don't have a native population that is ideologically dedicated enough to them to draft for a future military. Iran's borders are mountains, and they're filled by people who are generally not Persian or dislike them or are otherwise apathetic to their cause. It was clear back then in March that Iran would never seriously attack American military bases, and it's even clearer now when we see them lob a paltry 14 missiles at Al Udeid. And they did this all while making sure they told Doha and the Trump administration that they were coming. They literally announced it ahead of time. Khamenei is so strung out to deceive the chunk of loyalists whom he has under his thumb in Iran that he would put on a sorry display like this and use it as propaganda to supposedly show strength at home. It's sad. Carlson finished up this tweet too with, "Don't let the propagandists lie to you. Are you serious? Tucker is the only one lying here." So now that we have the what, let's think about the why. Why did Tucker choose to post such an obvious dumpster fire of a tweet? We can answer that when we look at some of the guests that he's had on his show. We can kind of see a pattern emerging. Lately, he had Daryl Cooper on his show. He's a historian, basically, who has shown his anti-Semitic colors lately. This man has gone on to tweet some really bad stuff, too. There's also been others like Dave Smith, but the really interesting one, the one kind of blew me away, was Dan Caldwell. Dan is a man with a fair reputation, but he wraps up his lies in a bed of truth. He's the sneaky kind. He's the more subtle and intelligent type of manipulator. Guests like this clearly show us the composition of Tucker's base of fans. He knows who's paying his bills. He's not about to bring on people who basically tell the truth because Tucker might lose the funding of his fans. Which leads us to the point. Tucker can tweet things like he did because he no longer cares about whether or not it's the genuine truth, or at the very least, helps guide people to some kind of clearer understanding of any situation. He clearly is tweeting lies because he knows that his fan base is a combination of anti-Semitic, anti-American, or some of his fellow grifters, or what's usually a combination of all of those. Tucker has sold out to the mighty dollar and left any concern for America behind. It's such a shame to see, too. It really is disappointing, and it's unfortunate that a man with a voice so prominent is steering so many people wrong. And that's it for this video. If you made it here and watched this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Here's a bonus clip that Dave Rubin posted. Thanks to him for pointing it out. It's Tucker with some of the most insincere nonsense imaginable.
There's some breaking news.
What now?
This is just sad on every level. Explosions have been heard over Doha, Qatar, after Iran launched a missile attack on the U.S. base there. Western officials told Axios that Iran had fired 6 missiles toward at least one U.S. base in that Gulf country. That base exists to protect Israel, by the way. I know Barry Weiss is constantly attacking Qatar. Qatar has done more to defend Israel. But anyway, hosting this base, which they don't need at all. It's the richest country in the world. They don't need to do it. They're doing it to be nice. But anyway, sorry. This is so distressing.
Have Americans been killed?
Officials said earlier that that the base located just outside Doha was facing a credible threat. Trump officials are convening in D.C. The base is home to CENTCOM's HQ. British military personnel also served on rotation. Many planes have been moved out recently, satellite imagery shows. So that's all we know. It's so distressing. It's so
Who could have seen this coming?
I know. It should go without saying, but I mean, I'm praying for the success of, whatever America does, because I'm praying for America, but I'm concerned. And I hope that people who have audiences will be responsible and just remember, like, life is short. You're going to have to give an account. Like, try to be honest, try to be humane, try to care about other people. I don't know. So that's my view.
Oh my goodness, are you for real? He can't be for real, but he is. And people are still watching him. Take care. See you in my next one.